Hi, Vicky.
How are you, Chris?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good.
Good. That's good. That's good. Oh man. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
it took me a while. Of course, I cut and pasted the link last time instead of copying and pasting. So I go into Connect and it's like, where did it go?
Oh.
I hate when I do that.
Yep. I do that a lot too. Don't feel bad.
Oh my God. Of course, it took me twice to get it in, but got it.
How are you, Jane?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Hi, Yaya and David.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Okay. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I can.
All right. We'll give everyone a little bit of time to show up. We were working on the way you look tonight, and we'll probably continue on that a little bit. I mean, I'll start with if there's any questions. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
And we'll see if there's any questions, and if there's no questions, we'll start on the way you look tonight. If we get through that too early, we've got some other stuff that Vicky sent on over. So we'll figure something out. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
I still love my banjolele. I can't help myself.
Oh, you shouldn't.
I enjoy it so much.
It's a beautiful thing.
I did have it put to that low G.
Did you find that it made a difference?
It does, well, because I like to do that picking.
Right?
So it sounds better with that G in it than the other G.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay, wait, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna. In new strings can take a while.
Yeah, on a ukulele, breaking in new strings can take honestly weeks, and that's not even an exaggeration. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is. Nylon strings take a really long time to break in on a guitar, and I feel like because they're shorter and there's more tension on them, that they take even longer to on a ukulele. But honestly, when I put my new strings on my ukulele, it took like a week, maybe even a little more, before it started to maintain any kind of tuning stability, where I would put it in tune and it would stay in tune, you know?
I'm not tuning as often during the class, like I don't have to retune after every song anymore.
Right. Yeah, well, it'll slowly start to improve, you know, but it takes time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Fluorocarbons stretch a lot faster.
Oh, is that really what it is?
Yeah.
That makes sense. And probably a lot faster than metal. So, you know,
That I can't tell you.
well, I mean, you know, normal guitar, quote unquote, normal guitar strings are the, you know, steel strings, which it's ironic to say because they're not even steel anymore. But
What are they?
mostly a type of bronze, phosphor bronze.
Huh.
Is generally what they're. Sometimes they'll have a steel core and they'll be wrapped in bronze, but they even have strings now that are completely made out of aluminum. that actually sound really nice. But again, these are all guitar strings. Ukulele, you can get a setup that has a metal low G string, which is kind of interesting. And then the rest of the strings are nylon. I've never played that kind of setup, but it looks interesting. And then, you know, but generally all nylon is the way to go for ukulele. Nylon has a much more percussive kind of attack, you know, like I don't know, thumpier, if that makes any sense. But ukulele is to me, it's very much a percussion instrument as well as a stringed instrument. You know, it's like a tuned percussion instrument, because the way that the strumming is equally important to the chords for coming up with how to play any particular song. All right. Oh, we even had that other way that I strummed The Way You Look Tonight. That might be something that we can go over today. We have The Way You Look Tonight, and we're moving along with it. Oh, I didn't even realize it. Oh, it's not 2 pages. It's a page, and then the next one is just the chords. Okay. I'll share it here and show you what I mean. So you've got the main page here, and then the next page is just the names of the chords, which I don't know if that makes it easier or harder. Does anyone remember? I believe we were on the 4th line. Like we just finished the 4th line.
We had gone through, we hadn't hit the bridge yet.
We hadn't hit and the bridge here is the 5th line, right?
Yeah, is the difficult part.
Is the difficult part, right? So we're gonna go over this 5th line to start. Well, let's go over the whole thing to start off. What time is it? Yeah, it's pretty much time to start. Okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the to Ukulele 301. This is a intermediate to advanced ukulele class. If this is too advanced for you, we've also started doing on Tuesdays. We're going to start doing the first half of Tuesdays for sort of more beginner type stuff. Meaning that if this is a little too much for you and you know some of this is flying over your head, that's okay. On Tuesdays, you could ask the more basic questions. I mean, you could do it on days like this today in classes like this as well. But if you feel intimidated or whatever, Tuesday might be a little bit better for you. And we'll take the first half of Tuesdays to answer any kind of questions or anything like that. That being said, if there are no questions, we're going to dive right back into the playing, the sort of play along thing that we do on the other days. So I want to start off today, even though we have something to go into. Are there any, I should ask when Jane comes back, but we'll start off this way. Are there any questions or concepts that anybody wants to go over before we start off today? Like, is there anything, you know, in the past week or maybe like some burning question that you've had all along that you haven't had the courage to ask? I don't know, like anything you got it all that you want to sort of go over here. Now's the time to do it. So I'll open the floor to you guys if there's anything you'd like to know. You are the least talkative class I've ever had. I gotta tell you. I know, Vicky, I know you got something you want to talk about.
The only thing was but I think you said you would cover it at another time, and that was in a song that you did last week where I missed class and you had done some flourishes.
Yes.
On the A minor.
Yeah, Don't Stop Believing,
Don't Stop Believing.
Was the song that we were doing. And it's funny because right after I did it, I thought in my head, I went, oh, that was pretty cool. I should probably figure out what that was and teach it someday. Because it was like a fill or a flourish or something that I remember playing. honestly, it just came out of nowhere. I don't even remember exactly what it was I played, so I'll have to go back and review it myself to figure out what it was. But that's what Vicky is referencing. I think it was last Thursday, right? Last Thursday,
I think so.
this past Thursday rather.
So
And
we'll do that another time then.
yeah, we could do that. Well, I have to listen to it first. So maybe shoot me an email on an off day during the week and say, hey Chris, by the way, don't forget, check it out. I don't mind that at all. Feel free to do that whenever you want. I've been a little off this week between the dental stuff and I just haven't been feeling 100%. And don't worry, it is not COVID related. Not like I meet you guys in person anyway. But yeah, so things have been a little bit behind, but we're picking up on it now. It's not a big deal. I chin up and all that sort of stuff. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions. I'll ask this briefly again when Jane comes back. Look at that room there. She's got her little ukulele and the cool art on the walls. That's a nice room she's got there. You know, we could do the whole voyeur thing. That's one of the great things about Zoom, you know? Okay. The Way You Look Tonight.
Chris, I can't remember. Did I send that to the whole class? Because I can't remember. I meant to, but I don't know if I did.
Does everyone have a copy of The Way You Look Tonight? Or the link to it at the very least? You know what? Just in case you don't, I'm going to post it in the chat right here. So this is the link to it. And chat. Come on. There we go. There's a link for you. If it didn't pop up for you automatically, there should be at the bottom of your screen a little chat bubble that you can click on that says chat. And if not, there's a ... that says more. And if you mouse over that, the chat will pop. It'll say chat. Click on that. And that's where the link to this will be in case you want to print it out, or if you want to, check it out when we don't have class going. All right. Again, I just want to take a quick listen to the intro just to refresh my memory on the song. I think I have it, but I just want to double check. So give me one moment. The Way You Look Tonight, the one that I know is an Elton John song. And I can't explain, but it's something about the way you look tonight takes my breath away.
It's not that.
I know it's not that. I know it's not that. But it is a
just as long as we're clear.
But it is another song, just so you know.
All right.
It is it's another song named exactly that. This one was Fred Astaire?
Yeah.
Okay. Fred Astaire. All right.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus now bundled together. The greatest stories and characters.
Oh, I got it. When I'm awfully low. Jane, do you have any questions to start off today's class? I asked everybody else, they all said no. Do you have anything that you would like to go over?
I just like practicing the picking, those.
Picking patterns.
Yeah,
Like
I'm really
the,
enjoying that a lot.
Like the 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 thing?
Yeah, and applying it to different songs and.
Yeah, that's great. And that's exactly how you should be doing it. And we went over that one that's a pinch. So it's like 1 and 4, then 3, 2.
Yep,
Good. So that one was yeah.
my picking patterns.
Okay, so we went over those. Good, good. I'm glad that you're enjoying them. I have to come up with a few more. The ones that I know are very guitar centric, so they need to be sort of altered a little bit so they'll work on a 4-string instrument. But those two, practice those two a lot, because those are, you can, the second one in particular, with the pinch in it, is applicable to lots and lots and lots of different songs. It's kind of like the island strum, you could use it all over the place, and it just immediately makes the song sound more interesting, which is pretty cool. All right, taking a look at the way you look tonight. Okay, so I think we agreed on the first line is a single strum per chord. And then the second line, we do like 2 strums per chord. So I'm going to play the first 2 lines. And then afterwards, let me know if there's any part of that you'd like to look at a little bit deeper, or if you sort of got it. And please don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like you're taking up time. Don't feel anything like that. That's why we're here. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Anybody? Questions, comments? Praise for your teacher? Anything? No? There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Hopefully one day you'll do it unprompted. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Hey, it's possible.
It is possible.
We love you.
I do. I'm just playing around. All right. Okay, now so that one, the only tricky-ish thing is the look tonight, right? Because there's just 1 strum on that G7th, then the G major 7th. G major 7th has 2 strums, but all along that's the only one for tonight. So tonight. Right, so the chord, the G7th, that's on the word tonight on 2 gets played once. But it's not really super difficult. It's just something to take note of. Okay, let's continue. Oh, but you're lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you, just the way you look tonight. All right, there's the tough one. So those, okay, so 4th line, last run of chords there. Difficult, yes, but not if you sort of look at it in a different way, right? So let's look at the first super hard looking chord, which is the E flat diminished. Now, you could do this one of 2 ways. Herb's way was really smart, and I recommend that. Herb's way is to bar the second fret. Second finger goes on the third string, third fret. And third finger goes on the first string, third fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. So barring the second fret, second finger goes here, third finger goes here. Now that's a little bit of a crowded position, but there's not really a much easier way to do it than that. Now we've got that 1, 2. Now if you just take that bar, leave the other 2 fingers in the same spot, and move that bar down 1 fret. So it'd be like, and now the cool thing is that last chord, you leave this bar in place, pick up your third finger all together, and slide your second finger down 1 fret. And now you've got that third chord. So all together we've got so it's hard to play when you're just focusing on it right now, because it kind of hurts my fingers a little bit. So it's probably hurting all your fingers a lot as well. I could see some people going like this right now, and that's okay. Because when you get to it and play through it, it's only going to be for a second. You know, it's not going to be, when you're practicing it and repeatedly practicing it, your hand might get a little sore. But when you go to actually perform the song, it goes by pretty quickly, right? Just okay. So that's a transition, and a pretty cool transition as well. It transitions from one key to the next, because it rises in key, yeah, by two whole steps, or jumps 2 whole steps from C to E, which is and this is a good place to talk about this. Whenever you see a key change, what that's usually meant to do is to add excitement, or sort of like ramp it up a little bit, and get people to lean in a little bit more than they would have. And it's usually used in a song that is a little bit repetitive, right? So this song, it doesn't really have a chorus part, and the bridge would have been just a repeated up until that point. But what they ended up doing, they're like, man, we'll raise the pitch, you know? So if we increase the pitch or change the key and make it a little bit higher, not only will it sound like a different part, but it'll raise the excitement up a little bit for it. It's actually a very well-known songwriting technique to raise the pitch and actually, or change the key of a song. And it very rarely goes down. Almost always it goes up. And listen to some songs, if you're ever listening to the radio or an iPod on shuffle or whatever you happen to be doing, and see if you could pick out times in songs where the key changes. And I'm sure it's more often than you think. Okay, so, and these chords are a way to get from, almost always those diminished chords are a way to get from one key to another, or from one chord to another. That's what a diminished chord is. It's called a passing chord. If you ever sort of play a diminished chord by itself, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not something you would, it sounds pretty bad when you just try to play it as a chord, right? So it only really works as a passing thing. And that's very pretty the way that resolves. So we've got that E diminished, F minor 7th, B flat 7. Very nice chord progression there. And I think that's the best way to play it, the way that Herb came up with there, or noticed, which was really good. All right. Any questions about those chords, or about how we're playing them? No, good. Okay. Let me just double check. I know I'm double checking a lot today, but let me double check something here.
And the world is cold, your love, with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love.
1 second.
Just the way. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fear apart. And at last, wrinkle your nose.
I guess it does sort of change a little bit at that bridge, the words and everything, but you know, it's still a key change. What is that? Am I doing that right? Yeah, E flat major 7th. So that's a bar straight across the 3rd fret. And then you reach over, skipping 1 fret. So it's a C major 7th moved up 2 whole steps to an E major 7th. E flat major 7th, excuse me. So let me just make sure that I'm doing this right. Yes. Yes, I am. Okay. So that's a nice movement too. So the bar stays on the 3rd fret, right? You're playing that 1st string, skip a fret there. So it's going to be the 1st string 5th fret while you bar the 3rd fret, right? Then you drop that down 1 fret and your 2nd finger reaches up to the 3rd string on that same fret, on the 4th fret. So your 3rd finger comes down a fret and your 2nd finger goes on the 3rd string on that same fret. And now, so it's the same chord that you played the last time, the E flat diminished from the last part, but it's an E diminished, which means it's forward 1 fret, right? Forward meaning higher, meaning towards the body, right? Lower going down towards the head. So we've got and the last 2 chords of that sequence are the same as the last 2 chords of the transition, right? So you bar that 1st fret, and then you skip a fret. It's the same chord as before, except you're adding your middle finger to the 3rd fret, 3rd string. And then you walk that middle finger down 1 fret and pick up your 3rd finger. So the whole thing sounds like this. So with the words, each word your tenderness grows, till my fear Yeah. Oof, this is starting to hurt my hand. Is anybody else having that same problem? Crazy. Yeah, like, whew. Yeah, I see. That's, we could take a minute. I'm gonna have a sip of my drink here. Let my hand muscles recoup. It's weird. When you don't bar very often, and I don't on the ukulele a lot, that could be a little, it could be a little difficult. Vitamin water. Someone made $1 billion putting food coloring in water, as far as I'm concerned, because that doesn't taste like anything to me. All right. Let's start on that with each word. With each word, your tenderness grows. Okay, so we've got those first four. Then back to the E flat major. So third fret. Yeah. So this part in here is a little tricky. Tearing my fear apart. So tearing is the E flat major seventh, which is the one we just did before. Now, leaving that bar in the same place, you do our old favorite, which is reaching over either with your middle and your third, or your third and your pinky, to play the first and third string on the fifth fret. Right, so it's like you don't move your first finger at all. So fear, let's look at that, because that's only 2 strums, right? So the fear is the chord we just did. Then you take your whichever 2 fingers you're using here and down 1 fret, right? So fear, fear, and that's a tough one. Again, your fingers are really crowded there. So if you're having trouble getting them to ring out properly, trying to think what would be the best. It's always best to get as much finger distance as possible, even when the crowding is the issue. So sometimes taking your thumb and sliding it down a little bit to more towards the middle of the neck, like that, instead of like having your thumb sort of over the top, can be very useful. And trying to keep your fingers straight rather than like, some people like rest it like this, and they're sort of, I do that. I'm very, very guilty of that. But I have gigantic hands, so I could sort of get away with it. You know, and you might want to look at how you're holding the ukulele if you're having a lot of trouble getting that crowded position in, right? And don't be afraid to move things around, even if it's like, this is the way I've been doing it all along. Well, yeah, but if you're not getting the notes that you need to get, try something different. Don't be afraid to make drastic changes, and look at how your elbow is. Is your elbow way tucked into your side, or is it comfortable and out a little bit? Because if you have your elbow like this, like jammed into your side, which a lot of people do, that will limit your range of motion. And it's also bad because it tends to make your wrist at a really severe angle, and you don't want that either. So you know, all the little things like that can sort of open you up a little bit and give you more range of motion, and therefore get you to play even crowded chords even better, right? and they'll end up giving you more reach as well. So, and again, that apart is a G flat diminished to a F minor seventh. It's just apart. So one strum, then apart. So apart, apart. And then you just pick up. Is it 2 strums for each one of those? Let me try it. Let's see what. Yeah, it is 2 strums. So it's a single strum for that G flat diminished, and then you move your finger, your bar finger down 1 fret to get that F minor seventh. You don't move these other 2 fingers. Then after the F minor seventh, you strum twice, and then you move both of your fingers down and pick up your, well, you don't even have to move both. You just move your second finger down. So, like so. Right. If anybody wants me to, stop sharing the screen so you could see what I'm doing more closely, just ask. I know I'm just a tiny little window on most of your screens right now. And if you want me to change that, it's no problem. Just say it. Okay. So that's the tricky part there. And there's a couple of very weird chords coming up on the next line. So touches my flesh. When you hear that last part, I have it queued up already, so don't worry. So it goes lower. Third fret. Wrinkles your nose, touches my foolish heart. Okay, so you'll see the chord 3 from the end, and you'll wonder, well, I don't have 7 fingers on my left hand. Maybe you do on your right, I don't know, but I personally don't have 7 on my left. I can tell. Yes, 5. So, but all that is a weird way to kind of put that you need to bar that, or leave the bar down basically from that C minor seventh, where you're barring the 3rd fret, and then you move that bar down to the 2nd fret, but you're also putting either your second is probably your best bet, but you could also put your 3rd down on the 3rd fret, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string along with that bar. Right, so it's like this. All that's really happening here is this one note really is moving. Right, that's really all that's happening. So you don't have to, if a bar is uncomfortable for you here, for this full bar, you could just bar the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string on the 3rd fret and put your 1st finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string. That would work too. Because if you notice, you know, anything that goes behind the dots doesn't make any difference at all. Right? I'm playing all over here. Doesn't change the sound. So however you get this note, which is the 4th string 2nd fret, you could bar straight across the 2nd fret, which is probably easiest because you come from here. Or you can do this. And if you don't want to bar it, play it with just one finger. But barring is probably your best bet, but however you get that note, you know. So really, same chord, same chord, same chord, same chord. The whole beginning part is exactly the same as the last part of the bridge. It's just these last 4 chords. So 3rd fret bar, 2nd fret bar with 3/4 of a 3rd fret bar. D minor 7th, we've seen many times before, and a G7. Okay, now we're back to lovely. Lovely, never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you are tonight. Just the way you are tonight. Just the way you are tonight. Screw that up a little bit. Let's look at that last line for my own sake because I did it wrong. Just the way you look tonight. I'm going to try to play it straight through and then we'll break it down. Just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight. That's a pretty way to end it on that C major 7th. So D minor 7th, G7 sus, which is a G7th, but with your pinky down on the 3rd fret, 1st string. You could do it that way. And then just pick up your pinky and you got a G7th. C major 7th, A minor 7th, D minor 7th. It's this D minor 7th to an A7 flat 9. Right? So it's just the way. So it's 1 strum on that D minor 7th. Just the way. And that A7 flat 9 is way. Way you. And the D minor 11th is exactly the same as a G7 sus. Look, then a G7 to G and a C major 7. So you could do that whole thing by playing a G7th and putting your pinky down on the 3rd fret 1st string, right? Pick up your pinky, then pick up everything except for your 3rd finger, right? So, which I think is a really cool way to end it. Do you have a question, Yaya, or are you just tapping on the computer? I guess she was just tapping on the computer. Just checking. Yeah, so that's a really nice, pretty way to end the song. So what, you guys want to maybe try to play it once through with me and then see if there's any kind of issue that you want to go over? Yeah, all right. I'll try not to screw it up. We'll see how that goes. Okay. So we'll do the first 4 chords as the intro, and then we'll start the song. First 4 chords twice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel the glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Oh, but you're lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you just the way you look tonight. Each bridge where your tenderness grows, tearing my fear apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Lovely, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight. It's nice, very nice. Very interesting chord changes. And again, this is true in music too, believe it or not. No pain, no gain. It's absolutely a fact. If it hurts a little bit, if it's a little, your hand aches a little bit afterwards, you're moving in the right direction. I know that sounds weird, but because eventually it won't. And then once your hand isn't hurting when you're doing that, you know that you've practiced quite a bit and that you now have a whole new skill set. Now you could bar without having to worry about it hurting anymore, you know? So rather than be apprehensive about stuff that kind of hurts a little bit or whatever, lean into it, man. You know, don't hurt yourself, obviously. Like if it gets to the point where, you know, your hand hurts for an hour and a half after you play, stop, right? You're going way too far. But if your hand's a little sore when you're playing it, you know, and it hurts a little bit, that's you're doing the right thing. Yes, D.
What if your wrist hurts?
If your wrist hurts, then there's a good chance that you're playing with the slightly wrong technique. And what I mean by that is you don't want a very severe bend in your wrist. Well, see that? Let me unshare because this is important. So when you're playing, you don't want a severe bend in your wrist like that. See that?
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, that's bad. You want to try to keep your wrists straight if you can, as straight as possible. You know, a little bit like this, but if you have a really severe bend in your wrists, believe it or not, musicians that do that for their career I have a friend who actually ended up having to get surgery because he played with that bend in his wrist so often that it ended up, I don't remember exactly what the wording for it was, but he had to get surgery.
Probably like carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, I don't know if it was exactly carpal tunnel, but yeah, it's something right along those lines, same
But I have a
symptoms.
question. If I don't do my wrists like that, then I can't get my fingertips on the strings. I use a little bit down from my tips, and then it interferes with the string below. And it makes
Is it that you can't or you haven't gotten there yet? Like, do you think it's impossible, or do you think that if you practiced, what's that?
I don't think my fingers are long enough
Long enough.
to get that curve to go to the tip.
A lot of times you get that curve if you try to look at the frets.
Say that again, Herb.
I think you curl it more if you try to look at the frets. If you don't look at the frets, like you look at your fingers placement,
Yeah.
so you turn your ukulele a little bit more flat as opposed to straight up and down.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So yeah, because if you're turning the ukulele like this,
Yeah.
to look at your hand and look at where you're, not that severely, obviously, but a lot of people tilt it up because they're trying to learn where to put their fingers. I get that. But what Herb is saying, and he's right, is that that'll make it more difficult for you to get that curve right on your fingers, so that way you can play it cleanly.
So I should keep it, the neck up and
Straight.
down. Up and
Yeah.
down.
Like this, and that'll help with that bend in your wrist as well. If you look, right? A little bit of a bend isn't bad, but if your wrist is doing that or even that, it's very unhealthy.
Yeah, and
Very
I
unhealthy.
can't do very long because of it, because it hurts.
Because it hurts, yeah, and that's exactly why it should be avoided.
Yeah.
That's, in some cases, pain is your body telling you in most cases, pain is your body telling you this is a bad idea, right? Like,
I
you gotta
gotta
stop.
other places. I don't need more.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it.
All right.
Yeah. So try not to, and it's hard. It's a hard instinct to not look at your fingers while you're playing a chord, but it'll help in multiple ways. You want to get a feel for the neck, right? And feel like this is a C. See, I didn't have to look at it. That's a C, G7, D minor, right? So you get a feel where the frets are, and you'll only really do that if you stop looking at your hand, and in the beginning you might be a little screwed up. You might miss the frets, you might hit the wrong fret, you might, it's going to happen, but it's just like anything else, and I'm not saying never look, but try it without. Then maybe look and say, oh, I was off by this much, so maybe I need to correct myself.
Well, I know I'm off. Even if I'm off a fret on a C,
You can
sounds
hear it.
totally different. Yeah, I can hear it. So I know right
Absolutely.
away.
Yeah, but that's a big thing. Rather than using your eyes, use your ears, And like I said, it's a natural instinct to want to use your eyes. Absolutely. I mean, everyone wants to look to see if they're doing something right. There's no question. But it'll be much more helpful in your musical education if you try to do it without it. Plus, in your case, I think it might help with the pain that you're feeling as well. And if really look at it and try to find out, is it that I physically can't do it, or is it that I could do it if I just practice doing it this way more, right? Like, is it physically impossible? Because 99% of the time it's not physically impossible. It feels physically impossible, right? Because we're trying to do it and we can't quite get it. But if you shifted something or you sat in it, honestly, posture is a big part of it. I mean, if you sit back like this when you're playing, you know, you've got to really ask yourself, like, do I have good posture? Is my elbow away from my body? Is all these different ways that I'm sitting, are they affecting? Because it's a chain reaction, and it all then goes to your fingers, and it could be affecting the way that your fingers are hitting the fretboard, right?
I went to an intermediate class with your mom on Thursday, so maybe she can help me with some of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure she will. I'm sure she will. She's catching up to me as a teacher. She's getting pretty good now. So
Hey, Chris, where is that song located? Is it in the pipeline? Is it?
The Way You Look Tonight?
Yeah.
No, I put the link in the chat. Which should be, there should be like, let me see. Where do you get the chat here? At the bottom of the window, do you see like a little bubble that says chat? It should say security, participants, polls, chat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you click chat, there's the link right there.
Oh, great. I want to print it out and practice. Cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. And if you, if you want to email me, I'll send it out to you that way. If anybody,
I got it.
Anybody, yeah, you got it. But anybody else?
Awesome.
All right. So, any questions about? Did we answer your question, Dee? Was that helpful? Okay. Any other questions about this song in particular? Anything that you want to go over, or that you felt like when you were playing it, oh man, I screwed that up, or whatever, and take your time too. It's no rush, even though this is, I keep touting this as a sort of advanced-ish intermediate class. Don't feel bad if you're, everybody's got to, I have to practice this song to get it right, so these are more advanced songs, if I can't, and I don't mean this egotistically, I've just been playing so often. If I can't pick it up on the first try, it's not an easy song, So don't feel bad at all. All right, so I guess we can sort of move away from this song for now. That was a great idea. And if anybody else, when they're out and about in internet world or wherever, find a song that looks like difficult, but it's for a ukulele, or even not, even if it's for, a different instrument, it might be cool to transcribe another song that's a little difficult to ukulele. And I could show you how I would go about doing that even. It's a longer process and will require pen and paper, but it's doable. You could take almost every song, pretty much any song out there, and translate it to almost any other instrument. And it's great fun to take a ukulele song and play it on guitar, or vice versa. You could have a really cool, and if you find one that has difficult chords that we'd have to track down how to play those chords in a ukulele, that could be really interesting and really cool. So so keep on the lookout for interesting songs, difficult songs, or just something that you'd like to bring to the class that you think would be good to focus on. Okay, well, we only have 3 minutes left, but I'll ask Vicky specifically. You sent this House of the Rising Sun to me. What did you mean exactly? Figure out which chords, when to play them.
Okay, so
I'll share it.
okay, that would help. Okay, so I think that I figured out the tab, even though one of the notes I didn't really agree with whoever put that out there.
And that's
but then
okay.
But I just wanted to see if I could figure out, and I did try it. So I did a little bit of my homework to try to figure out when I would play that A minor or the C, and the D just didn't work. And I don't know.
Let's see. Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, A, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, E, 7, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the chords would sound like this. There is a house in New Orleans, and so on. And the
Chord part was not the issue. It was the putting the tab and trying to kind of pick that tab and play chord melody.
That's hard, man. And I don't think yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not meant for a low G. Can you play that tab? Like the beginning part of that tab, Vicky, or do you have that down yet?
And this is the one where I disagreed. I go here, they want us to go 7.
But it doesn't sound like it's in the same key as the chords
I know.
to me. Like something is off about this.
Something is off.
This actually brings up a good point. And it's something that people say all the time, but just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. And that applies to music as well. I mean, I have found stuff online that is just wrong. Like just not even like, what song are you listening to? Because that's not the one you're playing, you know, like, and in this case, there might be something off. Like he might have put the wrong chords to this, or he might have, because something doesn't sound right. Those notes
something's not right.
Yeah, those chords don't sound like they're in the same key. But if you would like to learn how to do the melody and the strumming, if that's the idea for something like this, like combining the two, we could look into that. We could do that next week. We'd have to find one that is actually in the key, the proper key. That would be helpful. But we could do that for sure.
Yeah, and just kind of go slowly through a song.
Yeah.
And ones that we all know.
That's very right.
We don't, and something that's, it could even be happy birthday, or it could be something simple where we all know it. And then so you play a couple of, you know.
Yeah, it would be something like, I'd have to figure it out. But yes, I get what you're saying, and we could do that. We could definitely do that. Try to find someone who does a finger style version of House of the Rising Sun on ukulele. That's called finger style. And I bet you'll find something really good that we might even be able to get the tab for or figure out ourselves.
However, I think that there may be some other students who have other ideas of how they would like to spend your time.
I knew you were going to say something like that, but I think that this would be good for everybody. I mean, unless somebody has an idea for something that they want to do specifically themselves. Does anybody have anything specifically for this class that they'd like to go over?
I know,
Or do
I
you
know
want to
Jane
just see
wanted
where it
to do
goes?
some finger picking.
Hi, hold on a second. Whoops.
Jane, you turn yourself off. Did you want to talk?
Yeah, I like what Vicky was doing, actually. I'm sorry, I thought I was muted before. So
Oh,
I'm
no, it's
sorry for-
okay.
No, I like, it's different. It's nice to do different things.
Good. So that's a yes, Vicky. So, and Dave is shaking his head yes. I think that D is cool with it. Everybody's cool with it. I think that that's a good idea. House of the Rising Sun would probably be one of the easier ones to do, but I'll look around and see if I could find another one too. And it would be something different to kind of learn how to play a melody and the chord structure at the same time. Like, how would we do something like that and make it sound good, you know? Because it is very possible, and it would be fun to learn. And then maybe by learning the basics of that and how we would go about doing it, you could do it with other songs, you know? Like Jake S does his version of, you know, honestly, I could download that Bohemian Rhapsody tab. That would be months worth of learning if you guys wanted to do it. I mean, there is so much stuff going on in that. Jake Shimabukuro, if you get a chance, look up his version of Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just beautiful, and it's very complicated, but it's really, really great. And that shows he moves chords around as the notes, if that makes sense. Like, it's pretty impressive. Like, he'll use whole chords to play sections that are usually just single notes. It's pretty cool. But yeah, we'll do something like this, Vicky. We'll talk about it during the week, and then come next week we'll have something squared away for it. Sound good? All right, everybody. It's 5 after. Thank you very much for coming today, as always.
Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone.
And see you all soon.
Yep. See everybody tomorrow.
All right, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Dave. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Dave and Yaya. Bye, guys.
Lab practice.
That's right. Me too. Bye, guys.